To begin with, I can't help but stand back in amazement at what these past 3 months have brought us. Unbelievable. And I won't even go there about Donald Trump's bizarre revisionist history of the Civil War. But even without that, it's clear that there is chaos and danger lurking in Washington, D.C. How any policy will be formulated that will move our nation forward is beyond my comprehension. We were there in the women's marches. We were there in the Women's Day of Action. We were there with over 700 students for our EOP EOC Advocacy Day. Absolutely. We are there as part of various locally organized efforts to call on our representatives in Congress to heed the will of the majority of Americans on health care policy, on the Trump budget, and on so many other issues. We were there as a national partner in the Marches for Science, and we were there last weekend for the Climate March. UUPers, rank and file, casual members, and statewide officers have stood tall to be heard and to sing out our song of solidarity, defending the principles we live for and live by. And look out, world, because we will not stop. More change came to us in the past week, as Dr. Christina Johnson was named the new SUNY Chancellor. She comes to us with a very diverse background as a scientist, an academic, an administrator, who expanded faculty numbers when student numbers increased at Duke University School of Engineering. Also as a member of the Obama administration's Department of Energy, working on alternative energy projects, and as an entrepreneur. I'm optimistic about forging a strong working relationship with Dr. Johnson. We will certainly not agree on all issues. But given her eagerness to start her tenure as Chancellor in a positive way, well, that makes me feel positive about what we might achieve together. She called me the day after she was appointed to thank me for attending the reception in her honor. Never got a call from Nancy. Not that I missed it. The first thing she said after thanking me for being there, the first issue she raised and expressed concern about is the diminishing number of full-time faculty and staff in SUNY. It's time, it's past time, for the leadership of our union and our university to work together aggressively and innovatively to create a better future for our students and our colleagues. We cannot wait any longer. The time is now. In this national climate, where facts are dismissed, science is denigrated, and the intellectual side of our nature is rejected for the emotions of fear and hatred, our work could not be more necessary, more imperative, or more valuable. We face difficult times, but we have faced them in the past. In fact, looking back at just the past 3 months, we have survived a very tough budget session, the toughest since I became your president 4 years ago. And we dodged 2 Trump attacks on the Affordable Care Act and Medicaid that would have devastated our state's economy. Now, today, we face the most extreme threat due to the House action yesterday. The bill that passed will endanger lives. It will rip away health coverage for millions of Americans. It will slash Medicaid funding by 25% over 10 years, while cutting taxes for the top 1%. This cannot stand. We will remember those in New York's congressional delegation who have abandoned their constituents. Stefanik, King, Tenney, Zeldin, Reed, Collins, Faso. Are you with me on this? We Also, in these past 3 months, we watched as the National Republican Party successfully, through the course of the past year, engineered what I consider to be a constitutional coup d'etat, refusing to allow a sitting president to fill a vacancy on the Supreme Court, so that their party's president could do so. And the court is sure to hear a case that will strike at the heart of our fee-payer system in the next year. But we faced Friedrichs, and we were prepared for the worst. Come what may, in Janus versus AFSCME Council 31, or Son of Friedrichs, we will be ready. Ready financially. Ready with more active membership than we've ever had. And ready with more political power than we've ever had. I say, let the attacks come. Let those who would try to destroy our union and our sacred work come for us. We are ready. We have fought the hard fight before, and we will again. We have won before, and we will win again. Over and over, as many times as we need to. Let's not kid ourselves. The situation we find ourselves in is dangerous in so many ways. We are threatened by a federal government that is led by a man who extols Loyalty Day, while attacking the constitutional system of checks and balances as bad for the country. This, combined with all of his attacks on our basic freedoms of speech and the press, should cause alarm bells to go off in all Americans. Unfortunately, that is not happening. Instead, a significant portion of our fellow Americans celebrate the carnival that he has brought to our political system. While it is right that we pay attention to his words for signs of authoritarianism, we must also watch carefully the policy steps that his administration has taken or has planned to take. Gutting the climate research taking place in government agencies, taking steps to restrict the right to privacy and choice, initiating actions that seek to open our nation's protected lands to exploitation by the few, and proposing a budget that rejects the need for the nation to lead the world in medical research, artistic expression, and the sharing of knowledge. A budget that would slash funding to support the poorest of students in our nation who are chasing the dream of a college degree, while his administration also acts to free up the field for corrupt profiteers who exploit the most vulnerable of our students while shouldering them with immense debt. A budget that would shift massive resources unnecessarily to a bloated Department of Defense for weapon systems that are superfluous in today's world, and a tax proposal of sorts that would bring grievous harm to New York. We cannot look to DC for help. Only harm will come to us from our nation's capital. In the political world, we must have no permanent enemies or permanent friends, only permanent interests. We are a union built to promote values that lead to a better life for our members and to improve the state we serve. Those political leaders who wish to help us, we will work with. Those who choose to bring us harm, we will oppose. It's simple, really. From what he has said and done in his business career and in his political career, there is no way that one can see Donald Trump as a friend of labor or those who value a diverse community. Having said that, our interests could be served by his policies at some point. We await that day. I may not expect it anytime soon. If Donald Trump and his friends in Congress see the light, we will gladly work with them. But not till then. Until then, we will fight, and we don't lose our fights. At the end of the day, we could only get the legislature and the governor to reinstate half of what was cut by the governor in his budget proposal for this fiscal year in terms of the state subsidy for the hospitals. But the fight continues. We are working closely with SUNY on this one issue to ensure that the Department of Health provides every penny of funding owed to the hospitals under the disproportionate share or DISH program. The hospitals are owed millions for services already rendered by our hospital. So given that we support more access to higher education, we have supported Excelsior and will continue to do so. We will also call for adequate funding now, not next year, because the costs of educating our students are being borne now, not at some unknown future date. Excelsior is a small start, but not good enough. We worked hard for years to get back a full maintenance of effort in the budget. we did get language that guarantees that next year's budget proposal cannot be any less than this year's final budget. However, we need a commitment to whatever salary cost increases occur. We also need funding for the fringe benefit costs at those hospitals. The MOE we got, and it was a fight that took years, is a small start, but not good enough. Last year, we took a strong stand against any increase in tuition without a full maintenance of effort. The governor turned it on us by saying that there wouldn't be an MOE without a tuition increase. This year, the legislature, desperate to increase funding for higher education, accepted the proposal the governor made for a 4-year rational tuition plan. We fought hard and won language that guarantees that the funding must be used for full-time faculty in the classroom and not for research foundation hires or big hairy ideas from the castle down by the river in Albany. Again, a small start, but not good enough. We had an amazing day of advocacy, I alluded to it earlier, for the opportunity programs, with more students than ever. We broke the records, shattered them. With more students than ever joining us and our members in the tough work of convincing legislators to increase funding beyond where it was last year. The effort was historic. The result was not. Funding that was cut by the governor in his budget proposal was reinstated in the final budget. Again, a small start, but not good enough. The power of coalitions was on full display in the passage of legislation to defend us against right to work for less actions federally, with the passage of legislation that will make union dues fully tax deductible for state taxes starting in 2019 for income earned in 2018. Finally, the legislature ignored the governor's proposal for the very marginal reform he proposed for SUNY and CUNY foundations. All that would have changed is the creation of another executive appointee, an inspector general, to oversee these massive entities once criminal behavior was detected. He might be, or she might be, very busy, but the horse would clearly have left the barn at that point. Late in the budget negotiations, the governor raised the idea of taxing a small amount of the resources in those foundations to support the actual academic mission of SUNY. Amazingly, this was the first time when SUNY finally awoke from its deep sleep and spoke out forcefully against such a tax. There was a hue and cry that caused me to be slightly concerned that perhaps someone had threatened to take away something important from campus administrators, like their state-provided homes or cars. Campus leaders mobilized. They wrote their legislators, sent their lobbyists, and the proposal was defeated. Understand my shock and dismay at this behavior. SUNY refused to fight aggressively for the kind of funding our university needs. Originally, they did call for a big increase in funding. Then, when the governor's office protested, they backed off. We fought on, alone, and we fought for the funding all campuses need to pay our members the salaries they deserve. We fought for a stronger MOE and funding. Believe it or not, at a finance committee meeting just this past Tuesday, trustees raised the question as to why the faculty was not fighting harder to include salaries in the MOE. I asked you, have we fought for an MOE that includes funds for salary increases? Have we? Can we say it loud enough for those trustees to hear it in their mansions and gated communities around New York? Have we advocated for this? Yes! Good, because this really pissed me off. In case you hadn't noticed. We work ourselves. All of you do. We work ourselves to the bone advocating for a university that can't advocate for itself. And we are accused of not doing enough, while they kowtow to every terrible move the governor makes against our university and the work we do. This must end. And I hope, by building a strong working relationship with our new chancellor, we can change the game, because this one is really fixed. And our members are paying at New Paltz, where hundreds of term adjuncts were notified that they would not be back in the fall. At Stony Brook, where the theater arts program is to be eliminated. And on it goes. This must end. But the time will come when we will pass our torches with strong and gentle hands to others walking behind us now, but ready for the task ahead. We may just be one link in a chain, but it is a chain that links us, binds us joyfully to this community, our community of justice. The times summon us, frightening though they may be as never before. In the words of a favorite song of mine, it's going to be a long walk home. Don't wait up for me. It's going to be a long walk home. Our nation is lost, divided, and in pain. Our state is led by those who seem incapable of embracing a true progressive vision for all who live here in New York. Our university has been abandoned by its leaders to the whims of political necessity. It's time to start that long walk home. And what is home? Home is justice. Home is peace. Where, in the words of Bobby Kennedy, the savageness of man is tamed. We will get there, you and I, and there we will sing out with our brothers and sisters, ones joining us for the first time, and those from long ago. And what will we sing? Solidarity forever. Thank you very much.